You're gonna, like I said, you're gonna mess it up. People have it. No matter how many personal development classes you are here talking, you're taking, and you're like, I changed. What's changed is not you. What's changed is your awareness of your habits. That's what changes. So you're aware that you're doing it, and you take a breath, and you be like, I'm doing it again. Let me do something different. And you don't get down on yourself when you go back to your habit.
It's easy to get down on yourself, especially if things are going crazy. Yeah.
Right, but just think about it. Okay, so you're almost 60. I'm almost 40. My dad used to say to me, you have more time as a child than an adult. At the time, it didn't make sense.
Right.
Now it does.
Yeah.
40 years old, you become an adult technically under 18. It's like over 30 years. My whole life to be an adult.
Yeah.
So you have all this time that you're gonna out here, you're gonna make decisions. They're good, not good. You're gonna have your car. Look, I have my car repoed. I had all these things. But you rise and you learn. And trust and believe, the first time you had those situations with the car, you learn, but it may not be all the way. So you might have some other situations.
I'm back again.
By the time you're around 40, you get to fix everything, because now you kind of have an amalgam. But you're only going to be able to do that when you're out there. And I always say, you're out there, you're messing it up. Out there fixing it. That's how you learn. And don't get down on yourself. My closing line on my podcast, The Parent Cipher, is be patient with yourself and your child.
Beautiful. That's beautiful. Great advice. There's no better advice. Be patient with yourself and your child.
Yeah, we gotta have patience, man, because it's at the daily expectations that you have for yourself. Even if you don't have them for your child, but we all do, they feel those. And how you treat and love yourself is how you teach your child to treat and love themselves. So when they call you out, like my boys, so I teach my kids to like the value of themselves. So my son will say, you haven't bought yourself something lately, Mom.
Oh, yeah.
You haven't done so and so. I've just been, for the last couple of years, I had a breakdown of trying to so-called fix my mistakes. So when I came out of it, I really started to journal more, and I really started to learn how to put stuff in places. Like I have a planner I created where you can put everything in a place. We have conversations. I'm not perfect, so that stuff be falling apart, and then I have to come back, and we have to have conversations, and I have to figure out, you're not the type of person to put on a piece of paper in a book. What can you do to support yourself? I had articles where I talk about using Alexa. I know people are like, what? Look, these classes confuse me sometimes. I need Alexa to tell them to go back to school. Okay. But every time stuff doesn't fall through, it doesn't work. I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, I have my I suck moments. So delete it. I'll be like, oh, I suck. Then I'm like, okay, well, you don't really suck.
No, you don't.
You just need to figure something else out because this is not working. So what's working? And then how can you get support? Period. With anything, business, life. Look, what COVID did for me is I love to talk, as we can say. I love to talk. I love to share ideas. I like going out, man.
Oh yeah, you're like so many of us business women. We don't want to go out. We want to stay in the house, especially now during COVID. I mean, it's not like before where we have to go out to these functions. Nowadays, I'm like, I'm not going out to no function, not until I get me a vaccine or something. I don't know.
No, I'm like, no good. But I started talking to more people. I started a podcast. I focus on more interaction. Really learning like who I'm talking to. So for entrepreneurs, when you start a business, you tend to say, I want to talk to everybody. No, you don't. You went into business and it changes as you grow. Who you talk to changes. But you started it because there was something going on with you that you wanted to provide a service for. So you're talking to an individual. It may be yourself, but you're talking to someone, and that's the person that you audience you want to connect with. Because if you're talking to everybody, you're not talking to anyone.
Right. Yeah. Right.
So it's, and even and also know, like, there's so many networks out here to support women entrepreneurs. And that we have to tap into them. And I'm not saying 1,000,001 because I'll be signing up for all the things and I get overwhelmed. But there are networks out here like this one where the community is strong.
Yes.
You can throw your voice out there and say, "Hey, I have a question."
Yes.
And people will be so like 1,000,001 answers.
Yes.
And then you can honestly say, "Well, I don't know what this is," and they'll tell you what it is. Women entrepreneur groups is there's a variant of us experience as well as knowledge, and we want each other to thrive.
Yes.
So we want to keep you from that curve. That mistake I made that cost me $5,000. The thing where I went with this person because they told me they were going to help me become an author, and now they own my book, and now I don't want to sell my book.
My goodness, girl, you didn't go through that. Lord.
Yeah. It's just those pieces where you learn a lesson, and I'm at the point now in my journey where I'm saying, well, that's a lesson. I'm also at the point in my journey where I don't need to sign up for all the things. You need to pace yourself. But these type of groups I didn't have this when I first started. I didn't have an entrepreneurship group. So I just knew I wanted to write a book. And then someone introduced me, and I'm like, oh, okay. Not understanding like the nuances of publishing a book. But now, you have groups like this, and people can just throw a question in there. Does anyone know the difference between how I can work with a publishing agent? How I can get published? Where can I place my submissions? If I decide I want to self-publish, what is it that I do? You can have these conversations in these spaces instead of you're sitting there and you're like, I'm waiting for someone to introduce me.
Oh, we've got wonderful women in the group. I like Tammy Paulk. I don't know if you heard of her. She's done amazing work with self-publishing. We can connect you if you want to start, because there's so much in the group. You're in the right group, okay, girl?
Right. It's like
it
is such a good space when someone says, I want to be a podcaster, and you're like, oh, well, where do I start? And you have like 5-10 people immediately jump in.
Yeah, we got 25 women that fast. Like that fast. We ended up like on iHeartRadio, because I always say, when there's, what do they say in the Bible? When there's one or more of you gather in my name, right? And I feel like as a group, like one of us, I think is fantastic. 2 of us, great. I mean, we're all individual great women, right? But when you put us all together, oh my gosh, we're like freaking unstoppable, because the power sometimes I feel when we're in our group podcast, like, I'm like, wow, there's so much power on this podcast right here, because we're all working it. We're all doing a darn thing. And so, I'm just grateful to have the opportunity to reach out to help, because I'm at that point in my life where that's what I do, is I just try to help now, and I feel like I'm lucky because I have a kid who can help support me. I don't have to worry that much. Like, thank you, God. Thank you. I don't got to worry. So now I can just spend my time really helping people. And I love what we're doing, and finding people like you, Jeannie, to help us, and what you're doing with your podcast, and, to help other parents with their children. It's beautiful. Beautiful. And I'm so glad you found us. And I'm, whatever you need, you just reach out. We will be there for you. We are a force to be reckoned with. Okay.
I believe it. Like I said, everyone needs a group. Everyone needs a tribe.
Oh, we need
That's how you grow. You grow faster. You grow faster together than you grow by yourself.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing. Well, I just want to tell you, I can't believe we've been at this for so long. I was like, if we get to 3:30, I gotta stop it. I'm like, we're almost there. We've been running our mouth.
Your editor is gonna be like, what was you doing today?
I'm probably gonna break this up into several episodes because we've been on for so long. But if there was any parting words that you would like to say, go ahead and let us know what your parting words are.
Well, okay, so my partner is the same one on my podcast. Be patient with yourself and your child. We're all learning and growing together. So just breathe and enjoy the ride.
Beautiful, Jeannie, beautiful. Well, I'm going to invite you right now to go ahead and put your contact information, your website, your podcast, all your information in the chat area. So once I save this, I will have it and I can blast your information everywhere. And we can get some people to join and listen in on your podcast. And if you've got a website, put your website in there. And I want to thank you for taking the time to be here with me today. You have been amazing. One of my favorite people right now. And before I go, I got to ask you this question. Are you a Sagittarius, Gemini, or Virgo? I've been asking myself this.
I'm Aquarius.
Aquarius. I knew. I was like, is Sagittarius, Virgo, or Gemini? I was just thinking when you said travel and then you start talking about the areas, I'm like, she's got to be either an air sign or a Sag, and it was an air sign, and it was an air sign. I had to check. I had to check as an astrologer.
We love to travel.
That's beautiful.
We love to travel, and I've had like, what do I have? I feel like I have 2 air signs at home, and they love to travel too.
Oh yeah,
they love. I have a Virgo. What is it? One is a Virgo. What is the other one? Is he no, he's not a Capricorn. What is my mom? A Libra.
Oh, a Libra. When's his birthday? I can tell you for sure.
September 22nd.
Yeah,
I feel like he's on
Libra.
the cusp.
Yeah, right on the cusp. Yeah.
Oh no. I thought he was a Virgo though.
If he's a September 23rd, he's on the cusp, but I think he would be a Virgo.
Yeah, he's a Virgo. And then I have one.
He goes up to September 23rd.
What is it? May, and the other one's May 20th. He's an Aries.
May 20th? No, May 20th, or that's right on the cusp of Gemini and Taurus.
I think Gemini, please, because
I'm telling you, when I said Virgo and Gemini, where were you? Virgo, Gemini, or Sag? I was close because I could feel those around you. And it's weird that you are an air sign, because I get that air signs, they fly. Gemini, Saggies, Virgos. I mean,
no breaks.
Yeah, you're gonna keep traveling.
No break. And I keep and I take everybody with me. My parents have never been out of the United States.
Oh wow!
Right, so I took them with me, and my dad has always watched Tour de France, like ever since I was a kid. So we went to France, and we did like where it started, where it stops, and where it starts.
That's so cool.
And I took pictures, like, and I posted it. And I was like, because it was just touched my spirit.
Yeah, you
to be that, and then. Wow. And then just like, like I said, with my kids, it's like their whole perspective has changed. Like my son's like, I want to live in London because it's rainy and it's dreary and it's dark and I love it. I don't have to deal with racism. I'm just gonna go live there. And I'm like,
that's great. I mean, just think you're expanding their everything. Like their whole horizons, their whole worlds are opening up to them when you give them a chance to travel. Beautiful.
And it's like, it is, and they hold me accountable. I forgot to say that on the podcast, but what I love about my kids is, as I'm learning, that's what I'm teaching them. And like I said, I'm a habit, so I have my moments where I'm like, wah, wah, wah. And my son is like, so when are we getting a new car? Because you said we were going to get a new car in 2020. And I'm like, nah, I don't have no money. Oh, you never say you don't have any money, mommy. Remember that? We say we don't have that in our budget. And let's think about what kind of car do you want? What year?
Oh,
how many
miles? What a great
how much is it going to cost? And I'm over here like, am I getting coached?
He's got that visualization down. I like it now.
Because you know what? That's what I taught them. And that's why I said it's a beautiful thing when your kids, the stuff that we're like in and out with, But for them, it's a standard. He's like, what's going on, Mom? Like, we supposed to be in a mansion. Well, why are we not in a mansion?
Right.
What are you doing? And I'm like, he said, let's go visit some mansions.
He's such a smart guy. He's such a smart little boy. Smart kid.
And I'm like, okay, I got you. And I'm like,
mine's on it.
And he's on it. And then like I said, with them, it's just, I have so much different things going on with my kids. I generally love being a parent. And like when I name them, I'm a true Aquarian, so I name them. Man, I'm like, what do they name me? Does it correspond? So my youngest one's name is Xavier Freeman Lindsay, but Xavier means one who's bright, and a star name means one man with a vision. A star. So I said yes. I was like, man with a great vision and one who is bright. I was like, there'll be a perfect team. Good. Yes. Okay, and then here's another thing before we go. His name is Asar, and these are my biological kids. So Asar and Xavier, A to Z, beginning and the end. I love it. Somebody was like, that's beautiful. My daughter finally got it, and she was like, did you do it on purpose? I was like, yes. She was like, who does that? I was like, someone who is intentful. I was like, because you're talking to a person that literally, when I was a teenager, I'm the oldest child. I had the oldest child complex, always have to take care of the people. So I never, people like, you ever had kids? I would always say, I'm not close to it. But I love kids. I love younger people. So I started being someone's step parent, and then I got the bug at 35, and you'd be like, oh, I'm gonna live forever.